Hello everyone, welcome to Red Snapper. My name's MJ and we are continuing to carry the torch for Drewberry on Snap or Pass. This week we've got Phastos. He's a Series 5 card, 3 energy, 3 power. On reveal, give each card in your deck -1 cost or +2 power. In this video we're going to be talking about all of the synergies. I'm going to give you several deck ideas, actually extra deck ideas than normal because I'm really excited about Phastos. And we're ultimately going to be telling you, is it a snap or pass? Should you get this card? Let's just delve right into it straight away and not use superfluous words. So looking at the spotlight week that Phastos is in, he's alongside a Series 4 card and a Series 5 card. So not the worst week. He's alongside Spider-Ham, which is a good card, definitely an annoying card to play against, but just generally, yeah, a decent one drop. I think he's quite a decent plug and play card. Put him in most decks and feel pretty good about it, unless you're, a specific combo trying to do something. But yeah, just generally, I think Spider-Ham's a good card. So if you don't have him, that's a consideration. And Corvus Glaive, Series 5 card. Really strong card. I've massively enjoyed playing with Corvus Glaive. Glove? If the glove fits. Stupid analogy, yeah, doesn't even work. But yeah, I've really enjoyed playing with Corvus Glaive over the last several months in discard and particularly in Hela. Hela, of course, has had a recent nerf, but I mean, I think she's still really good. She still has good statistics. She's knocking a couple of power off all the cards she brings back, but I don't know, I don't think that's enough to really keep her down. So yeah, if you haven't got Corvus Glaive and they're missing from your collection, definitely worth a look. Like, yeah, I do think this is a decent week. I don't think you'll feel bad about any of this. So yeah, let's move on and talk about the mechanics. He gives each card -1 cost or +2 power. So you will likely have a mixture. So he's not giving only +2 power or only -1 cost to all cards in your deck. It's a shuffle. So that means you can't rely. I'm actually skipping. I'm sort of skipping points a little bit, but anyway, you can't rely on one specific thing. So you have to play cards that synergize into both. Well, you don't have to. You can do what you want in life, but I would suggest you use cards in the deck which lean into both benefits. It's an extremely strong on reveal ability, so there is opportunity to abuse it. Now, I'll come on to this point later as well, but it is a little tricky to abuse, to be honest. There's 1 or 2 cards which work quite well with it. I should just say them now, actually. Grandmaster and Absorbing Man will work particularly well. But otherwise, yeah, a little bit harder to abuse, but it's such a strong on reveal that it may still be worth putting the effort in. And similarly to Mr. Negative, it makes every draw after you play Phastos like much more valuable. With Mr. Negative, those last few draws of the game, or if you can pull out your zero-costed cards with Jane Foster, like, oh my god. Mr. Negative followed by Jane Foster, there isn't like a stronger indication in the game that you need to retreat. Like, you've lost the game by that point, probably. And I think Phastos has a pinch of that. Every draw that you get after playing Phastos is going to feel so good. So, he's unreliable for a specific combo because, as I said earlier, you only get one of the 2 effects. So you can't build a deck and play a deck banking on getting one of the 2 effects. So, the pros. Both effects are very strong. I don't think you're going to feel bad about either of them. He opens up a new way to ramp. So in the past, we've had ramp via things like Wave and Electro. Well, this is like a sort of a third way where we can ramp on turn 3. I know there's things like Psylocke and Hope as well, but this is just another way that we can get a form of ramp. And there's actually quite a few locations that really benefit Phastos. I know that filling up Bar Sinister early, for example on turn 3, can not always be the best idea. However, your cards, all the cards in your deck are getting like a combination of these 2 effects. So some of them could drop cost by 4. Some of them could gain power by 8. Or there'll be a combination of 2. Maybe they get +4 power and -2 cost. That's going to feel incredible. That's going to feel similar to like a Blue Marvel style effect. And you're only using 3 energy to do it. So very interesting. Also maybe things like Luke Bar. You're pinging him back to your hand. Maybe you could even get away with doing it a few times on Luke's Bar. Who knows? But there's a lot of decent locations. Some of the cons. Absolutely woeful final turn play, like basically irrelevant on the final turn. Won't feel particularly great on turn 5. So it's still alright on turn 4 though. But really you do need to be drawing him early, so before turn 3 or 4. There's a lot of cards like this. Athena is a recent example where they feel much better earlier on. So yeah, just a consideration. It's difficult to abuse him via Wong. Very, very badly worded. But there we go. Difficult to abuse via Wong and bounce, but not impossible. So you can certainly use Beast on turn 4. It means you're playing him again on turn 5. But maybe you could play Phastos on turn 5, along with a Magic. Because, as I said earlier, those draws after playing Phastos are going to feel so valuable. They're going to feel so much better. I think Magic may be a key combo here as well. You're going to be wanting to get as much juice out of this guy as possible, so extending the game obviously does that. He's unreliable. You don't know what you're going to get. Generally the effects are both good, but you cannot rely on anything you don't know what you're going to get. And the final con, no one really plays Okoye. She's got a vaguely similar effect. She gives all cards in your deck +1 power. No one plays her, and you can play her a turn earlier. Is that a warning sign? Is that a warning sign for Phastos that just we're not going to feel good about his ability? Are we not going to get enough benefit out of it? Maybe you pull out a 1 cost from your deck that's -1 in power. That's like a wasted draw. If that happens a couple of times, you're like, great, my Phastos has been basically useless. It's a consideration. Counters. The only 3 I could really think of were Cosmo, obviously, because he's a non-reveal, so Cosmo's just going to outright stop it. Mobius is going to stop the cost reduction element. So actually, I think in the first week of Phastos' release, I think Mobius will probably tick up in power. I'm a big fan of the Snapchat with Cozy and Alex, and they talk a lot about this subject, in that the week of a card's release is often the weakest they'll ever be, because so many people are playing the card. It means that so many people are running the counters. So I think a lot of people will probably be playing Mobius this week. And finally, Shadow King is going to reset all of those gained powers. So there's several counters, nothing too crazy to worry about, I wouldn't say. Even if they play Mobius, they're only countering 1/2 of the deck, so I think Phastos still has a decent shot. Let's talk about the key synergies and several deck ideas for you. I've got 3 decks here, and then I'll give you a fourth and final deck on the next screen. But some of the key synergies. Sebastian Shaw. Is Phastos going to bring Sebastian Shaw out of Silver Surfer decks? Shaw is basically exclusively played in Silver Surfer decks. I do wonder if Phastos is going to make that synergy. I mean, I know that Phastos is a 3-cost card and obviously works in Silver Surfer himself, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But is there now enough cards to support Sebastian Shaw that you can do a Sebastian Shaw in like a buff style deck? We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Magic, I spoke about her earlier. You want to extend the game. You want to get as much juice out of Phastos as possible. Brood, very, very, very good if getting hit with the power from Phastos, because it becomes a 3/12 play in the bare minimum. You're almost certainly playing that in Surfer, so like it's a wild number that is way too much for me to even imagine. Nimrod, I think Nimrod's very interesting here, because Nimrod is a card that you can kind of go to a few different routes with him. You can either go the ramp route and try and get him out early, or you can go the juiced power route, like with Shuri, doubling his power and then destroying that way. Well, Phastos plays into both of those scenarios, so I think that's really interesting. You know, if you do happen to play Phastos and then you draw Nimrod by turn 5, so you've only got you've only got a couple times to draw him, so yes, it is not the most likely thing in the world, but hear me out, god damn it, please be respectful. Him coming out as a 5/8, certainly not the worst thing. Him coming out as a 4/6, if you're lucky enough to get the early draw on him, yeah, get him out, start destroying him, ping, ping, ping. Obviously, it's a very focused deck. Maybe that's the 4th deck that we'll talk about. But, and guys, listen, I am biased, okay? I love Nimrod. Nimrod is one of my favourite cards in the game. If I have an opportunity to talk about a new Nimrod synergy, I will goddamn take it, okay? For God's sake. Right, then next up, Iron Man. That potential +2 power that you get from Phastos is doubled. So it's already a 5/4 with Iron Man, and obviously doubling all the rest of your power in that location. But if you get the minus cost on him, a 4 cost Iron Man, fantastic. So I think Iron Man's really good. And Sarah, again, speaking into that Silver Surfer synergy, Sarah is a Silver Surfer card as well. Imagine getting out. Again, you have to be lucky because you're playing Phastos on 3 and it means you have to top deck. But imagine if you top deck a 4 costed Sarah and you're able to get Sarah out a turn early. And if you don't, you get her out on turn 5. Maybe she's been hit with the +2 power, or maybe she was in your starting hand or whatever. Even so, you're now doubling down on the cost efficiency because you may have drawn 1 or 2 cards from Phastos which are reduced in power. You're reducing even further with Sarah. It means you can play even more, which is so good for Silver Surfer. But let's talk about several of these decks. In fact, I am going to talk about Silver Surfer deck first, even though it's in the middle of the screen. I've called this Silver Streak. Yeah, I'm completely devoid of creativity today, I'm afraid. The Silver Streak, it looks like a pretty typical, pretty standard Silver Surfer deck, but with a few exceptions here. So I've got Iron Man in here, just because I think the synergy with Phastos is so good that you're just not going to feel bad playing it down on turn 5. Like, even just as is. Because if you've reduced other cards, you're going to be able to play more stuff down. You don't need much in the Iron Man lane to get a great benefit from it. But it also gives you a different 5 cost card to play alongside Sarah, depending on which one you draw. Or maybe you've drawn both. Maybe you do pull off that sick combo of Phastos, a cheaper Sarah, and then you can play Iron Man on 5 and just go absolutely wild towards the end of the game. The other stuff we got here, though, massively key synergy, in fact should have probably been in the key synergy discussion, is Grandmaster. Getting Phastos down on 3 and then on turn 4 being able to Grandmaster him is going to feel really good because you're still going to get 2 draws out of it. 2 draws that could be +4 powered or -2 costed. Gonna feel really good. Also, Grandmaster just works excellently with pretty much every card in this deck. You've also got Absorbing Man, so again you can Phastos into Absorbing Man. It means that you can go absolutely wild towards the end of the game. I think this is an extremely interesting Silver Surfer list. And I don't play much Silver Surfer, but I'm going to play the heck out of this. I think this could be really cool. Next up, Greedy Phastales. Like, I honestly completely lost the plot with these names. It's like Speedy Gonzalez, isn't it? That's what I've tried to do. That probably wasn't even obvious enough, though. So anyway, Greedy Phastales. Excuse me, now I've got bloody gas issues. Terrible. Subscribe. This is a great time to say subscribe. Why would you not subscribe to someone who's completely gassy and can't talk? Greedy Phastales. This is basically just using every card in the game, or every card that I could think of at least, that significantly benefits from having their power buffed. This is Sebastian Shaw. Iron Lad is hopefully going to copy one of the cards that does benefit. Black Panther. Iron Man. So you've got like 3/4 really good hits of cards that you want to increase power on. But we've doubled down on the increase in power. We've got Okoye in here. We've got Nakia in here. We've got Crystal in here because, like I said, those draws are going to be so important. Am I coping with Crystal? Almost fucking certainly, to be honest. But hey, I like my Crystal Pixel variant. What can I say? You've also got Absorbing Man in here because you could just do really interesting stuff. Maybe, just maybe, Phastos has hit Absorbing Man with +2 power. Maybe on turn 5, you play... Oh, do you know what? Maybe Phastos has hit Black Panther with -1 cost. Maybe you're playing Black Panther on turn 4. Maybe you played Okoye earlier, so he's coming down as a 10 power card. You play your Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man's coming down as a 12 power card. And then you do some crazy shenanigans with Odin or stuff. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think there's a weird deck. It's probably coping, but it'll be fun at least. And then finally, Phastos at the Zoo. Not finally, because I've got a 4th deck. I keep saying that. Phastos at the Zoo is my 3rd deck suggestion for you. Basically, a lot of Zoo-style cards. A lot of low costs. We've got ones. We've got Hoods, Iceman, Martyr, and Baku, Blade. Yeah, we got Blade. So some of these things you're going to want to be playing on the final turn of the game. But hopefully they get tagged with that extra power. And if they don't, hopefully just the other cards got tagged with extra power. We've also got, again, are we coping with Okoye and Nakia? We've got Beast in here. Basically, you want to kick all this stuff back to your hand, play all this stuff out, and then you have an explosive final turn. Because maybe your turn 5 includes Black Swan. And then you've just got this jammed up hand of massive power, small cost cards, and you just dump everything out. Could be interesting. Not sure about this one, guys, but could be interesting. Right, but let's move on to the Nimrod deck. Nimrod of Destiny. I think there's a film out there called Rod of Destiny. There's like Pick of Destiny, has Tenacious D in it, but I don't know, I've said Nimrod of Destiny. This is what I'm thinking. Okay, I think that you know, apart from the obvious destroy stuff like Venom Carnage, Null Zola, etc., I think the interesting things in this deck are going to be the cards that regenerate, so X-23 and Wolverine, and of course X-23 herself is a ramp card, Phastos is a ramp card, so you've got a couple of ramp options already in the deck. But those cards that regenerate, and also those cards that re-trigger on reveals, so Grandmaster and Absorbing Man, there's something going on here. I think it's really interesting. You can maybe get out an early Nimrod, maybe you'll get out an early Destroyer as well, be able to destroy stuff, or you get out an early Zola, or just be able to destroy the Nimrod. I think this is really interesting. You could Venom, and then you can Absorbing Man. So there's lots of different lines in this deck. I think this is an extremely, extremely interesting Nimrod deck. So I cannot wait to play this. As an absolutely massive Nimrod fan, as a Nimrod player who has this incredible variant with the pink crackle. By the way, I think I've got 28 splits, 27 or 28 splits. I've got 1 gold. Can you believe that? Anyway, yeah, I think this is super interesting, guys. But that is now time for the final question of the thing. Is it a snap or pass? Of course it's a snap. Of course it's a snap. I'm getting this card. I'm actually spending tokens to get this card. So, yeah, I'm not actually rolling. I've already got Spider-Ham and Corvus Glaive, and I'm not too fussed about these variants. So, I'm just outright buying with tokens. But Phastos, to me, I think he's extremely interesting. That is the words that I'm saying that are coming out of my mouth. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'd be interested to hear from you. Are you getting Phastos? Have I missed out some obvious combos or synergies or anything that you think, God, he's stupid for not saying that? Let me hear it. Thank you for watching, guys. Also, apologies, didn't mention this at the start, but I'm a bit like sort of sinusy at the moment, so I've got like weird sort of, I just sound worse than usual, really. So apologies, but that is good in a way. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.